Mike, check 1 2. It's the Y2K collector. And can you look at video games as an investment? It's something that is one of the most divisive topics when we start to think about video games, specifically retro games, because retro games typically tend to have more value associated with them, especially if you have a rare and uncommon video game. And obviously, because of the topic at hand, I'm pointing to one of the rarest games in my collection, Burning Rangers, which is a game that came out on the Sega Saturn, and I'm pretty sure to this day is still locked to the Sega Saturn. I don't think this game has been ported to any other console. It's not available on any download networks. At least I don't think. You guys can let me know down in the comments. But outside of emulation, there's really no other way to play this game. And from what I understand, one of the most difficult consoles to emulate has been the Sega Saturn. So I say all that to say that Burning Rangers is definitely one of the more rare and expensive games in my collection. Now, I purchased Burning Rangers because it was a game that I really wanted to play. And I've played some of it. I haven't beaten it yet. I have played through it a few times, but never really got to beat the game all the way through to the end. The good news is that even though I've had this game for years, I don't plan on selling it. I don't view it as an investment. I view it as something that I'll be able to get back to at some point in my gaming journey. But is it wrong to view video games as something that you've invested in? And I don't know if that's different from investing in video games. And I think that's really the question at hand. Is it that people view video games as an investment, or do they invest in video games? And I know that sounds dumb, but it's really like a paradigm when you think about it, right? So if you treat, my thought process is if you treat video games like stocks and bonds, you're going to be very disappointed because they're not that. But if you treat video games the same way you treat any other purchase that you make in life, then to a degree, yes, video games are an investment. Now, I'm not just a fan of video games, I'm also a huge film and photography fan. I love video cameras, I do a lot of audio and video, but I am not a professional videographer, I'm not a professional photographer, but I do take really good video and I do take very good photographs, and I primarily photograph and video my family. Now, even though I'm not doing professional shoots, even though I am not being necessarily paid to do events, although I have been paid to do events in the past, I still want some of the best camera gear when it comes to taking photos and videos of my family, because I want those are going to be memories that I cherish forever. And so if I'm going to capture those moments, I want to capture them in the best way that works for me. And so because of that, I have a number of cameras and I have a number of lenses, but some of the lenses that I have in my collection and some of my camera gear happens to be more expensive than others. And if you take this Canon EF 24 to 105 millimeter 1.4, not 1.4, but 4 f4 aperture lens here, this L mount lens, this is a lens that goes for $500. And someone who is not into photography, someone who is not into videography might look at that and say, that's really stupid to pay $500 for a lens. Why would you pay $500 for a lens when you can just take photos and videos on your cell phone, right? Like, who needs to spend this much money on a camera lens? And we haven't even gotten to the camera body, but who needs to spend this much money on a camera lens when you can just take photos and video on your phone? Or even better yet, why would someone spend money on a GoPro when, again, you can just take photos and video on your phone, right? And I think I'm making this analogy because it's the same reason why someone would buy original video games and spend that money versus just emulating a game or something of that nature. There is a certain type of image and feel that I get from shooting on a Canon lens that I wouldn't get from my cell phone. There's a level of control and there's a level of manipulation that I can achieve with this lens that I cannot achieve with my cell phone. And because of that, I prefer, when I am taking video or doing photographs, it's not to say that I never use the camera on my phone or I never record anything on my phone, But I say that to say that when I'm looking to achieve a certain type of feel, when I want a certain type of look in my work, then I'm going to use a more sophisticated lens. And because of that, the lens is going to be more expensive. Now, some people might not feel that this is necessary. Some people might use their phone for everything. But to me, this was an investment that was worth it to me for two reasons. One, it's going to produce an image that I wouldn't get on my phone. And two, because there's value to this lens, should there ever come a day where I decide, all right, well, you know what, I've used this lens, I've gotten hundreds of amazing family photos, I've got hundreds of hours of amazing family video, I am done with this lens. I know that I'll be able to take this lens to a camera store and sell it and get back good money for this lens, right? Now, I could always rent a lens like this every time I wanted to use one, but in the long run, it'd probably wind up costing me more money than it would cost for me to just buy this lens and then sell it when I'm done. And that's the part for me where I look at how I'm investing my money. To me, renting a camera lens every time I need one is a poor investment because it's money that I'm never going to get back. But the value that I get from being able to own a lens that I can use whenever I want and then sell it, and even if I take a $100 or $200 hit in terms of, let's say I bought it for $500 and I can only sell it for $350, that would have meant that I would have got a lifetime worth of use out of a camera lens, getting a lifetime worth of photos and video, all for a net loss of $150. And to me, there's a tremendous amount of value in that, and that was a great investment because what the value that I got, the time value, the family photo value, the value of the hours of video supersedes everything else. And at the end of the day, I can sell this whenever I'm done with it. And I think it's the same concept that people have when it comes to certain retro games. I think some people who purchase original gaming hardware, they may think, like I know for me, I want to experience these games. There's a completely different feel that you get from opening an actual Sega Saturn case, opening it up, smelling the manual, seeing the original disc, putting it in your Sega Saturn, booting it up, and actually playing the game on your Sega Saturn. There's a feel that you get, a very tactile feel that you get from doing that you can't get from emulating. And there is a value associated with that. There is a clear value associated with that. Despite what people think, you can argue, you can emulate all you want. At the end of the day, the numbers are what the numbers are, right? This game commands a certain dollar amount, and that dollar amount is it correlates to the value that people feel like they get when they have it. Now, if I did decide one day, well, you know what? Okay, I'm good. I've got my fix with Burning Rangers. I'm ready to go ahead and sell it. I don't really need to have this in my collection anymore. I can sell it, and even if I sell it for a net loss, I still got a lifetime worth of the joy, of enjoyment, and memories from owning this game. And I think if you're a person who views everything you purchase, whether it be your video games, your camera gear, your watch, right? Like some people spend a lot of money on watches. I feel like a $30 Timex watch is all I need. I don't need to have a Patek Philippe. I don't need to have an Audemars. I don't even need a G-Shock. I think a little Timex works just right for me, right? It's perfect for me. I don't see the value in getting anything any more elaborate than that as far as a watch because I only need it to tell time. But to me, I feel like getting a quality camera lens is a wise investment for what I'm going to use it for. And I feel like getting video games, original hardware, is also a good investment for me. So I think when people start to ask the question, are video games a good investment? I think if you're treating it like stocks and bonds, like if someone came to me and they said, hey, Y2K, I have $2,000 to invest. What do you think I should invest in? I'm not going to turn around and tell them, yeah, I think you should invest in Earthbound, Little Samson, and Pokemon Blue. Like that's not the investment advice I'm going to give them. I might say, listen, I think you need to go get a couple ETFs. Maybe you get some diversified stock. Maybe invest in the overall NASDAQ. Get some stocks, get some bonds. Depending on how much money you have, is going to kind of really tell you how much or where to invest your money. If you're someone who has millions, maybe you want to put some of that in real estate. Maybe you want to buy gold. Maybe you want to buy cryptocurrency, right? But if you were to ask me where should you invest your money, I'm not going to say video games. But if you then came to me and said, hey, Y2K, I want to buy some video games and I got $1,000, what do you think I should buy? Well, I'm not going to necessarily tell you to go and buy a copy of Scribblenauts, because I don't really think that that's something that most gamers around my age or gamers who are at the investment level would enjoy. You might enjoy something a little different. Maybe you might want to do Clear Obscure Expedition 33. Maybe that's something you're into. Or maybe you want to do a few Mario games. But I think thinking about video games as an investment in terms of what you're spending your money on and what you're going to get back from what you spent your money on, I don't see a problem with looking at video games or anything that way. You know, you have people who don't go shopping very often for clothing, for a lot of clothes. They don't go clothes shopping. Like, they're not going to H&M every week, but they might do a $2,000 shopping spree maybe once a year. And with that $2,000, they might buy 3 or maybe 4 timeless fashion pieces that are just going to appreciate over time because they're made with quality. Do you know how much vintage handbags go for? Do you know how much vintage boots go for? Do you know how much vintage coats, vintage suits go for? A lot of times those things go for high dollar values because they're made with quality. And I don't think there's anything wrong with spending money on quality items that hold their value. And that's, to me, if you're spending anything you're spending your money on, you're investing in. But I'll leave you all with this. I think the biggest and best investment that you could ever make is in yourself. Buying quality food and eating quality food instead of eating junk food is the best investment you can make. The next best investment that you can make is in your development, in your education, in what you're feeding your brain, right? That's the next best investment that you can make. Because if you're physically whole and you're mentally whole and you're spiritually whole, then you're equipped to go further, faster than everyone else around you. So bringing it all back to video games, and I know I went on like a little soapbox there, but I really felt like this was important to talk about because the topic of video games as an investment comes up all the time. And I don't think people should view video games as a traditional investment, because that's not what they are. They're tools for enjoyment. And because a lot of people enjoy them, some games may hold their value, but not all games. And the same thing with cameras. Not all lenses are worth $400 or $500. Some lenses are worth $50. Some lenses are worth $5,000. But it just depends on what you're going to do with the lens and how you're going to make it work for you. If you are a channel member, you will be able to see some of the things that I shoot and some of the work that I do. I have shared some of those clips on the channel before, some of my drone footage, some of my professional video footage that I've shot as well. I'm actually looking at some of my lenses because I'm getting ready for this vacation. And a lot of what I'm going to be doing on this vacation is capturing a lot of family video. So I'm kind of getting my camera gear together. I actually had to recently pick up a new drone. And also I basically traded away some lenses to get a new Canon lens. So I'll be sharing with you the new drone and the new lens when they come in, and just kind of adding that to the channel. If you're a channel member, you'll get more in-depth reviews and you'll get a more in-depth look at the videography and photography side of the Y2K collector. But for the general subscribers to the channel, I just thought that this was a good topic on a Wednesday evening. Let me know what you guys think. How do you view video games within the realm of investments? Do you view everything you buy as an investment? Are video games not an investment? How do you view them? And where do you place them in terms of what you spend your money on? That does it for me. It's the Y2K Collector. I'll catch you in the next video. Take it easy.